that was, you still had to pull this back every time. We have what's called single action and double action firearms, and that can be very confusing to a lot of people, especially if you don't know a lot about guns and this is your first time going out. You wonder what is a single action, what is a double action. Single action refers to what goes on with the trigger. How many actions does the trigger do? With this particular firearm, if I squeeze the trigger, nothing happens. I have to manually pull the hammer back, and then the trigger does one action, a single action. It releases the hammer. So this is a single action firearm. It does one action. This firearm can do single action or double action. So the double action is, as I'm squeezing the trigger, it's rotating the cylinder, getting the bullet in place to where it's ready to go down the barrel, so that's one action, and then it's releasing the hammer, which is the second action. So it's one action, two actions. That's a double action firearm. A double action firearm, double single, can also be shot in single action mode. So when I pull the hammer back, then the trigger is only doing one action. I'm pulling this back, there's one action that's happening when I squeeze the trigger. So when they talk about single or double action, we know exactly what that is. We have a gun that's single action only. The trigger only performs one action. We have a gun that's double action. It's doing two actions, or it can be shot in single action mode. Does that make sense? It's a simple process, but now it makes sense to us when we understand, okay, double action, single action, we're just talking about what the trigger does. Any questions with that? Yeah?
Do any revolvers become single action after the first shot? Like a lot of the semi-auto handguns. So you have to, if you want single action, you have to pull it back.
Every time. Yep. And what he's talking about is when we're going to move on to auto.